WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelberg comes out and denies what we all see. All of us see it. The players see it. The coaches see it. The fans see it. The damn parking lot attendants that's standing outside of the venues that's not even in the arenas can see it. That there's a major referee issue with the WNBA.
Now, we know WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelberg pretty much is not a fan favorite. She's been quiet in most parts. She's looked upon as being a fraud. And quite frankly, people was asking for her to step down, bro.
Accordingly, effective immediately, I am banning...
Everything changed with a single line. With immediate effect, I'm banning the WNBA has banned Brittney Griner. She was gone in an instant, directly from Adam Silver. Before it occurred, there was not a whisper. The league as a whole simply stopped. However, this wasn't an unexpected development. Not at all. Griner was seen on camera harassing Griner-Clark months ago, hurling elbows, using foul language, and making an excessive effort to break her. The anxiety was palpable. It was seen by all. However, Caitlin remained unmoving. She continued to take hits, cook defenders, basket, and remain composed. Griner then fouled out. Caitlin stated it simply while staring her in the eye. "You don't scare me." Then everything became upside down. Because perhaps this goes beyond Griner. Perhaps the cords are being pulled by a larger person. Engelberg, Kathy. Behind the tumult, behind the silence, behind the drama, her name keeps coming up. Furthermore, this is more than simply a ban if you look closely. It appears to be a cover-up. Let's examine each component individually. When NBA Commissioner turned WNBA crisis responder Adam Silver stormed into a surprise press conference and exploded the news, the sports world gasped. Brittney Griner was immediately barred from the league. Supporters anticipated a lifetime ban, a fine, and possibly a protracted suspension. There was more to this. Silver didn't merely use Griner as an example. His message was loud when he sent it. We will not tolerate corruption. But what she did wasn't the only question. But why now was the true question. For almost 10 years, Griner has served as the WNBA spokesperson. Olympic champion, all-star player, and the first female player to dunk in games on a regular basis in decades. And yet, no goodbye, no warning. Silver's remarks were incisive and thoughtful. Behavior that jeopardizes the game's integrity has no place in basketball. What were those acts, then? The information was concealed behind a thorough internal probe that was brought on by growing media, coach, and player concerns. According to reports, it exposed years of covert manipulation, influence abuse, and, most damning of all, match tampering. Fans, however, felt that there was more even after Silver dropped the hammer. The woman should have stopped this long ago because one name was left out. Engelberg, Kathy. A deeper truth festered behind Griner's public persona endorsements, appearances, and highlight reels. An internal examination conducted by the league uncovered unethical manipulation techniques. The results of the games weren't random, they were guided. According to reports, Griffin was involved in controversial unofficial meetings, covert influence strategies, and discussions with officials. Insiders claim that her team consistently benefited from making the right judgments at the right times when playoff races became close. Is it a coincidence? No, Silver's investigation revealed. According to a senior insider, Griner's inner circle had access to private data including scouting reports and referee assignments. They also implied that, maybe as a result of their common executive contacts, she had influence over league employees. All of this was not new. For years, there have been whispers. So why didn't the WNBA take action sooner? Griner was worth too much. Arenas were filled with her name. She attracted sponsors. During slow seasons, she served as the league's PR shield. Additionally, nobody wanted to tackle the storm she brought since the WNBA was finally on the rise. So far, her actions weren't the only reason for the suspension. It concerned everything that took place right in front of the league. At that point, Commissioner Kathy Engelberg becomes the center of attention. Because if Griffin had authority, it was granted to her by someone. Up until the very end, Brittney Griner's career reads like a basketball fairy tale. She was once heralded as the WNBA's savior. In her heyday, she was unbeatable, delivering viral dunks, blocking shots with authority, and leading Team USA to Olympic gold. She was more than just domineering. She was a unique unicorn in a field that was looking for significance. The endorsements came pouring in. She hosted youth clinics, represented the league at international events, and rose to prominence as a global face for Nike. Before she became the W's worst liability, she was its most marketable figure. The fissures were already beginning to appear beneath the surface. There have been reports of conflicts with teammates, altercations with referees, and disregard for team rules. Griner was now a force to be reckoned with on and off the field. The league, however, turned its head away. Because, up until she was profitable. The last few years weren't good. Whispers became leaks. The media took notice of questionable gaming patterns. The investigation followed. The story could not be saved once the audio recordings, text messages, and first-hand recollections of the facts came to light. Her release was the league's only option. Here's the problem. Stars don't fall by themselves. Systems raise them up and keep them safe. Cathy Engelbert was the name given to such system in Griner's instance. The investigation specifics seem like they belong in a sports thriller. Whistleblower testimony, leaked emails, and anonymous tips. According to league insiders, investigators discovered clear connections between Griner and questionable refereeing practices, particularly during crucial games. Griner discussed particular referees by name in text discussions. She was heard whining about assignments and planning matchups. The worst of all is a second tape that was made during a contentious post-game exchange in which Griner is said to have told an official to control the whistle in order to secure the seed. It was more than simply trash talk. That amounted to competition manipulation. According to Silver's inquiry, Griner allegedly had the ear of several executives and referees in a network of favoritism. The consequences were instantaneous. Officials were placed on leave. League leaders were secretly fired. Suddenly, Griner's name became radioactive. However, another question was also brought up by the study. For what duration had this been occurring? It turns out a large number of people. Additionally, one of them was the WNBA's top official. Engelbert received more than a briefing. She received numerous warnings. She decided to keep quiet. Everything changed when Silver mentioned the tapes. Up until that point, the accusations made against Griner might have been dismissed as the result of rumors, coincidences, or even jealousy. However, real voice recordings are evidence, not conjecture. Several insiders claim that league authorities collected at least 2 significant audio snippets. The other is purportedly from a post-game hallway exchange between Griner and a referee, and the first is from a locker room meeting. Griner can be heard in the tapes asking why calls weren't going her way, pushing for momentum swings, and even recommending that some players be placed on watch. Even the most devoted league employees were sufficiently shaken. According to sources, Silver examined the videos himself. He responded right away. There was no denying the evidence. Griner was re-engineering results rather than merely breaking the law. After that came to light, there was only the hammer. No further debate, no pleas, no public relations plan. However, there is a deeper issue raised by these tapes. Who gave permission for this level of power and access? It is forbidden for referees to speak privately with players. It wasn't an isolated incident. There was a pattern. Furthermore, unless someone above is covering for them, patterns don't occur in secret. Now, every indication was pointing up the chain. To Cathy Engelbert directly. Maintaining the integrity of the game was Cathy Engelbert's first priority. The sport itself, not simply the athletes or the logos. When did she stop seeing that, then? According to insiders, Gilbert was aware of Griner's allegations for more than 2 years. The league office received direct complaints from players. Untrustworthy calls and dubious backroom activities were cautioned against by anonymous staff. Formal reports were even reported via internal compliance channels. However, nothing took place. Angelbert is accused of ignoring the problems or rerouting them via internal procedures. According to others, she purposefully kept Griner out of the spotlight in order to preserve the league's reputation. Why would she act in such way? Easy money. Griner was a major attraction and a well-known figure that the WNBA could promote. Griner was a necessary symbol of success for Angelbert, who had staked her leadership on increasing league publicity, even at the expense of responsibility. However, that gamble had a disastrous outcome. Angelbert can no longer use PR spin now that the investigation is finished and the tapes are public knowledge. Reports are mentioning her name. She is now complicit in her silence. Additionally, although Griner's suspension garners media attention, supporters, athletes, and reporters are calling for Angelbert's to be the next to go. Because the person who allowed a scandal to occur is equally as guilty as the person who committed it. Cathy Angelbert is under a lot of strain. What started out as player rumors has turned into a major league catastrophe. Even though Silver issued the Griner ban, supporters are now demanding more and are watching the commissioner closely. Critics claim that Angelbert is more than just careless. They claim that she planned the quiet. According to several accounts, Angelbert had access to early versions of the recordings of Griner's off-court power plays, reports about referee favoritism, and more. According to some, she prevented follow-up questions. According to others, she told legal teams to ignore it unless there was a media frenzy. The firestorm has arrived. It's telling that Silver has taken over the disciplinary procedure that Angelbert typically oversees. It shows that the NBA has lost faith in the collaboration. It's unusual and uncommon, and it implies that the league doesn't think Angelbert can spearhead the cleanup. It is said that sponsors are uncomfortable. Negotiations have been halted by some, and worst of all, players are speaking out. Trending hashtags are demanding that Angelbert resign. Former athletes are requesting transparency from sports programs. Additionally, it has been rumored that rookie stars Sophie Cunningham and Griner-Clark are incensed behind the scenes. This is a reckoning, not only a scandal. Angelbert may have contributed to corruption rather than only failing to prevent it. Additionally, if she continues to hold power, the WNBA might not survive. Unless you have superstar credibility, you don't expose a superstar. That's why Griner-Clark and Sophie Cunningham's involvement was so important. Benchwarmers are not what these are. They're becoming well known. The most viewed rookie in WNBA history is Caitlin. Sophie is among the most resilient two-way players in the league. People pay attention when they speak. And what they disclosed was revolutionary. Reports state that both players took part in private interviews with league investigators.